Now, yesterday I gave the boys a grocery shop challenge and they created 3 different dishes, 2 portions of each, from those same ingredients. It was a pretty impressive effort, you can check it out here. But today I'm going to show you what the food team here at Sorted would have done with exactly the same restrictions and ingredients, i.e. add in a few more tips and tricks and hacks.
I wonder if you're going to be able to beat what we did.
I'm going to be honest, you did a great job.
We nailed it.
Can he be more efficient?
Let's see. I'm going to start with bacon, chilli and broccoli pasta.
Right.
Right, okay.
And it begins by using half of the smoked pancetta into a initially cold pan and then over a medium heat to render out the fat. I'm also going to put the kettle on to boil some water because the bag had some lovely ingredients in it, but it didn't have any staples. So I'm going to use for this one, pasta. The cost of this particular grocery shop challenge was less than £20 and it included these dry ingredients. It's just that we didn't give them to you, so you had free reign of which ones to use.
Ooh. I love watching him cook these recipes, but I hate the swagger.
I
You'll
know.
notice he saunters over the back. I'm just going to go over here.
I'm going to get the pasta.
Check this out. Some pasta. Bring that over. And you won't believe this, but...
was already costed in from a reputable supermarket. That has the Ebbers guarantee.
Unlike you, Jay, I'm not going to guess the weight of the pasta because I don't want to accidentally end up with too much or too little. 200 grams into a pan, a generous pinch of salt, and then the boiled kettle goes over the top, give it one stir, and it will take about 8 minutes. The key to cooking at home is where can you shave time and get different sort of processes to overlap. So while the kettle was boiling, we start on the pancetta. Now it's in the pan, already weighed out in the pan, and now the pancetta's starting to sizzle, we can move on to the next step, the broccoli.
I think that's one of my favourite phrases in cooking. The sauce takes as long as the pasta takes to cook.
Yeah.
That is, you know it's going to be a
That's the ultimate
10-minute recipe.
Yeah.
It's great.
So what I'm going to do is take all of the green florets off of our broccoli.
Did you say broccoli?
350 grams, leaving plenty of broccoli for tomorrow.
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
I'm going to chop the broccoli roughly on the board, and I'm also going to chop up half of the packet of parsley. Broccoli pasta is a classic traditional Italian dish, and basically the broccoli cooks down relatively small so that it almost becomes the sauce. Now parsley, in those small packets, the supermarket, if we are going to use them, yes, while sometimes we use them just as a garnish, we want to use enough of it so you can taste that garnish. Or enough of it so that it goes into something and becomes part of the dish. And remember, all of these recipes really are there as complete meals to spread across multiple days, but they also form the basis of inspiration, and you can add your own twist to it. If you wanted to add spinach into the pasta dish you did, it would also work. Or rocket would add a flavour and the green. There's lots of different things you can do to twist up at home, but these recipes, as planned by the food team, are already balanced. Every broccoli is slightly different, but basically you want half for today and half for tomorrow. So all the stalk and whatever's left, that can be cling filmed and put in the fridge for tomorrow. All the rest of the broccoli goes in with the pancetta, along with all of the parsley, along with all of the pasta. If you haven't got a slotted spoon or something like this, do it through a sieve or a colander, but you will want to save some of that pasta water because a little bit now and a little bit later will really help the dish. The broccoli has gone in raw, but it's also been shaved, and all those little florets take moments to cook. They get buried in hot pasta, and literally just for another couple of minutes, and that broccoli will be cooked, but it will still be lovely and green and nutritious. And then into that pan, we add our last 3 ingredients: lemon, cream cheese, and chili flakes.
Right, sorry, that is exactly the carbonara and the broccoli soup together.
Yeah.
Where are the other 2 dishes? Yeah.
Half of it going in today, half of it will go in tomorrow. If at any point it gets a little bit dry, you can add in a bit more of that pasta water. You can see already we're almost there. In with lemon zest, and at the moment we've got the fattiness of pancetta and the creaminess of cream cheese, so lemon juice helps. Another really simple top tip, you don't want those pips in there, so just squeeze it through the microplane, and what you save is all of the pips on the microplane, which is already dirty from the zest. Just super, super easy. Saucy and delicious.
Thank you.
Seasoned, because the pasta water was seasoned, which we've been adding in, plus what's all baked pasta. We finish it with a little sprinkle, about a teaspoon of chili flakes, and we have our first dish done. Wash up one pan while it's still nice and hot, makes life easy, and you're left with very, very little washing up. So a chili pancetta and broccoli pasta, sorted.
Oh, it's like going back in time.
Yeah.
What that needs is a bit of parmesan now. If only we had some. That was one done. What's number 2?
Number 2, is broccoli soup with garlic and olive bread. The difference being we're going to use all of the stalks. So what we end up with is... Carry on.
Okay, you crack on.
Carry on.
So first things first, I'm going to boil a kettle and preheat an oven. And then I'm going to use some butter. So this is about layering up flavour bit by bit in a pan, because otherwise it's just broccoli soup. Instead, I'm going to add 40 grams of butter into a pan and heat it up gently, but then let it go nutty brown.
God, Mike's going to feel so silly, isn't he?
It really is.
And while that butter is melting in a pan, I'm just going to grate 5 cloves of garlic. So lots of garlic.
It's the swag.
The swag.
Suddenly. Oh, new levels of swagger in this.
Yeah.
Oh, flippity flop.
The difference is, Baz,
Shippity shoff.
you also served it on its own. What I'm adding here is a garlic and olive bread.
Don't take this away from us. We worked hard for this.
Not dissimilar to your dish, I'm splitting the parsley across 3 different applications, 3 different dishes. What I'm not doing is just throwing it on at the end of each one, but combining it here into what will become our garlic bread. And last time it was blended into the soup to get all the flavour, so it's all eaten and consumed. I'm also going to take some olives, about 1/3 of this jar, and chop those up too. All while we're waiting for our kettle to boil, our oven to preheat, and our butter to go a nutty golden brown. So our olives get nicely chopped up, and then about 2/3 of our garlic, while the other 1/3 that we've prepped goes into our brown butter. And look at the colour on that. That's what you want. Something that's just starting to go that nice nutty brown colour, and we're layering flavour. Adding in the garlic. You guys put a little bit of pancetta fat through yours, which obviously meant it was no longer a vegetarian dish, and chicken stock. Fine, but this way with the nutty brown butter, we add in flavour in a different way. Now we can take all of the broccoli that was chopped up yesterday and add it into the pan. Plus, most importantly, all the bits that you threw away, Baz, become the bulk of today's dish. Roughly chop it. Doesn't have to be regular. We are going to blend this soup later, and you're going to use as much as you possibly can, but the very bottom bit, where it's been cut off for a while, will be tough. But this is all about food waste. We talk about Sidekick using fresh ingredients up across multiple dishes. Well, don't throw anything away if you can help it.
It's a whole meal from something that we threw away, which is amazing.
Gonna add in 300 ml of water, give or take, and then all of that broccoli stalk. And that just bubbles away. And because of the brown butter and the garlic, we don't need stock cube.
Interesting.
Get more dimension out of the butter.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, what I have left is more garlic, parsley, and olive. So all we want to do is take another chunk of butter, 30 grams, and on the same board, which is already dirty, just kind of mush it all up. We're making a garlic butter with the olives and the parsley and the rest of that butter. Now I'm working with fridge cold butter here, as I'm sure many of you will be, but the moment you've chopped it up like that, you can just go in with the back of a spoon or a spatula and just smush it a bit more. It's unsalted butter, so I would always add more salt, except for in this instance, we've got the olives. From the staples cupboard, we're gonna go with bread. Now this actually is a fresh bread, so I guess it classes as a fresh ingredient we would buy, but it's why in this pack we've combined all of these prices of both the staple and the fresh ingredients into one pack, and it's still less than 20 quid. The important thing here is balance. Because this is a vegetarian dish, some people say, sort of, where's the protein? Well, it's there. Especially with something like ciabatta, it's full of gluten. That's what makes it such a lovely, chewy loaf. What is gluten? Protein. So actually, we plugged all of these ingredients for this dish into a nutrition calculator, and this dish, a portion of this, gives Ebbers 45% of his recommended nutrition intake for protein.
Gives Evers.
Based on my weight.
Right, I see.
Because
Right,
the recommended
okay.
nutrition intake is based on your weight.
It does raise an interesting question though, Evers, because a lot of people ask why we don't put nutritional information for the recipes in the Sidekick app.
And there are a couple of reasons for that. One, it's very difficult to measure nutrition reliably because everyone does things slightly different. Ingredients from different places around the world will be different. Your ciabatta will be different to our ciabatta. However, it's easy enough for you to plug it in and make that call. Whilst we don't put it on the app, and some people actually prefer not to see nutritional intake when they're choosing their meals, actually what we do is make sure there is balance throughout. So we plug in a handful of them when we do it to make sure that we're providing that balance as per recommended nutritional intake in the UK guidelines with the Eat Well guide. Our soup is bubbling away. Our garlic and olive bread is going to go into our preheated oven. Both will take another 6 or 8 minutes before we can move on.
Nice.
Lovely.
In the meantime, I could get on with some washing up, but oh look, there isn't any.
But look, there isn't any.
So after about 8 minutes of passive time, our garlic bread, golden, crispy, the butter and the olive and the parsley have all combined, and our soup has reduced down. Now, add in the other half of the cream cheese that you didn't use yesterday, and that's adding the creaminess to a soup that otherwise is loads of greatness.
This is so similar to ours, just a little bit
Yeah, elevated. Chefed. Swagged.
swagged. Yeah.
Swagged.
It's the same as ours with swagger.
Nice. 2 more dishes, nutty brown garlic broccoli soup with cream cheese and then an olive and parsley garlic bread. Sorted.
Swaggers is in town, me.
It is.
Third dish, not a lot left, but a lot of flavour and
Yeah.
a lot of flavour bombs. So we're going to do a puttanesco pilaf.
Ooh, okay.
Rice absorption method with all the flavours of the classic Italian dish. So we're going to start with medium heat on a pan, the other half of the smoked pancetta we didn't use, plus the anchovies.
Oh, no.
Yeah, is there.
I'm going to derobe.
Really?
Yeah.
I was really enjoying this.
No, so was I, but I don't
It's like
think...
pyjamas, isn't it? It's very comfy. So all of the anchovies go in the pan with the oil. In the meantime, we can slice garlic, chop the rest of the olives, a few capers, and put a kettle on to boil. Now, the thing to watch for in this recipe is it can be very salty because your olives, your capers, your pancetta, and your anchovies are very salty. But it's a classic Italian dish, and a little bit goes an awful long way. So we have got just a handful of each of these ingredients, and don't forget that's 2 portions, and it all gets absorbed into that rice.
So why rice and not pasta for this then?
So every time when we plan recipe packs, we try and provide variety. And you've already had a pasta dish in this week's pack, so why not take inspiration from another one but completely turn it on its head? That is the thing about Sidekick. It does the thinking for you if you outsource it. If you regularly cook from Sidekick, 1 or 2 recipe packs a week, you will get variety, menu diversity, you'll be exposed to new ingredients you might not normally try but give them a go, and you'll get that balance of nutrition. If you're not as comfortable with a knife to get really thin slices of garlic, then do what we did in the other recipe, grate it.
Okay.
You'll notice what I've also done is chosen to cook this in a pan that we have a lid for, because later on it's going to be absorption method for the rice, so that is key. Pretty much once you've prepped your ingredients and your kettle's boiled, and you can see all the fat has rendered out of the pancetta, and some of those anchovies are almost disappearing and mushing down into a paste. Then we can go in with everything on the board, plus 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. So very similar to all the flavours that you put on bread.
Very similar.
I'm just going to put in and around rice.
Yeah.
One top tip if you're cooking with tomato paste, cook it till you think it's done, give it another 30 seconds.
But why?
Because what you want is a really sticky, rich colour out of it. And it's allowed to go sticky and dark and gnarly almost. Raw tomato paste has like an acidity to it that is fine, but it's incredibly strong and overpowering. Once you reduce it down, it just mixes with all the other flavours better, so you get a more rounded experience. You do need to get the measurements here correct. 150 grams of basmati, and then run it in a sieve under cold water. We still don't have cold running water in this studio, so I'm going to do this. You'll get a similar kind of vibe. This will end up with something fluffier because you're getting rid of a lot of the gluey starch. You can see how milky that water's gone. Rice goes in, along with 320 ml of water from the kettle. And literally I've just put it straight back on the scales, tear it and weigh it in. 320. Give it a stir. As soon as that's come back up to a boil, over the heat, lid on, leave it for 12 minutes. In those 12 minutes, if there was any washing up, you could do it, there isn't, and you chop some parsley, the last third of the parsley that you're not using. This is a beautiful 1-pot dish that's effortless. Set a timer for 12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's built into the app, you just push the button. After the allotted time, lift the lid and have a check. You can see all the rice has absorbed the rest of the liquid. You should almost be able to hear it sizzling in the bottom of the pan because the water's now evaporated off. If you give it a shimmy, it should just be loose enough, but basically it will be fluffy. Test a grain of rice if you want. Finish it with a scattering of fresh parsley And that is our puttanesco braised rice dish sorted.
Brilliant. Well done.
Let's get them into the sexies. Not a million miles away from where you guys started, but each dish uses 8 ingredients or less, and if you put them all together, there's a handful of staple ingredients that can go back in the cupboard, like chili flakes and capers and tomato paste, but otherwise any fresh ingredients is broccoli, lemon and parsley.
Let's get stuck in.
Cheers.
Oh, there's a spice.
The chilli in that.
Chili and lemon,
Yeah.
which are the same ingredients you used. It just has the added broccoli going through it, so it's more balanced.
It's more refined, it's more sophisticated.
It's the al dente broccoli.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Uh-oh.
Broccoli in this one, less al dente.
Isn't it funny? You put the same amount of cream as we did in ours, but it feels creamier because the ratio is completely different.
It feels very luxurious.
And that's also because of the stalk of the broccoli, which has even more of the pectin in it.
Yeah.
So it gives you that wonderful kind of creaminess when you blend it.
There's a loaded garlic bread. Wow.
Absorption method should be fluffy.
Cheers.
Cheers. And mostly store cupboard flavour bombs. Anchovies, olives, capers.
I think we did a good job.
We did a
doubt.
good job.
No
But when something's been refined,
Yeah. And you've got a chef to bring the swag. That's what this has. It's
I think the
basically-
difference is, forget the swag. I think the difference is it's been tried and tested. Rather than improvised, which is what you guys did.
Yeah.
Simple ingredients thrown together for 3 very different meals.
Top work.
well done. And to the food team.
Oh, yeah.
3 stonking dishes. The question is, which one
of
do you want to
these?
tuck into?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.